Yeah, you make some really good points. I mean, you were just actually because we were warned years ago, and we saw what happened to Julian Assange when he exposed the empire's war crimes, and he's now in prison and basically being tortured to death in front of us collectively. But you were just this weekend, in DC at a comedy gathering talking about Assange and all of that. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's a great series of shows that Randy Credico has put together. And if you want to see how ridiculous our media has become, if the name Randy Credico sounds familiar, it's probably because people know him as who the mainstream media for a brief moment pointed to as the cause of Russiagate. They believe that this 60-year-old comedian was the go-between between Assange and Roger Stone and Russia. And it's so utterly hilarious if you know the man and know how kind-hearted he is and what a great comedian and guy he is. It's just hilarious. But anyway, so he's put together a series of shows for Assange. We did one in New York with Roger Waters and Cornel West and so many great people. I can't list them all. And then we've done 3 here in DC with, Katie Halper, Marianne Williamson, of course, Randy, Eleanor Goldfield. Again, can't remember or name them all. John Kiriakou, of course. And, for those of us who are comedians, Assange is not an easy thing to make fun of. So I don't spend a lot of my time of the comedy portion of the show discussing Assange, but because it's, it's too real and gruesome to, for me at this time. That doesn't mean that anything I think in comedy is off limits if you deal with it correctly. But so I generally, talk about other news stories, but then in the speaking portion of my show, I talk about how important Assange is and how he is the most reliable publisher, journalist, whatever you want to call him, that perhaps has ever lived, and nothing WikiLeaks ever published has been proven false. Not a single word. Compare that to CNN or Fox News, where every other minute they have to print a retraction.
Well, what was even more stunning is when, they got called out for Seal Island. Was it Seal Island? That was false reporting and some other false reporting.
Snake Island.
Yeah, Snake Island. And they got called out for the false reporting. And New York Times then said, well, yes, they didn't retract it, but they said, but this lifted people's spirits. And it was like, what? And that was like the propaganda, they were just admitting propaganda.
Exactly. The latest video, I just put it up about a half hour ago on patreon.com/Lee Camp. But the video is about how the Biden administration and our government has now admitted, and Kayla Johnstone covered this well, has now admitted that they are making up this stuff. They've said outwardly that they're in a break from the past, meaning this is not what used to be done. They are now taking a feeling or a vibe they had, and they're using that as legitimate news, even if a week later it becomes proven false. That's okay. Like all the reports that Russia was about to use chemical weapons, and then they stopped talking about it. And, all the reports that they were going to pile bodies at Chernobyl and in a false flag, and all this stuff ended up being false, but it doesn't matter. It serves the purpose. And now the Biden administration has admitted this is made up intelligence.
It's stunning. Yeah. Like how they're just doubling down on it, on the propaganda, and just admitting, okay, this is the course of action that we're taking. We're going to get inside your brains and meld them to our thinking.
Yeah, and I just want to add one thing in case people, have it twisted. I am opposed to Russia's invasion. I'm also opposed to NATO's expansion. I'm also opposed to Nazis. Like, you can be opposed to all those things at the same time. And so I am opposed to Russia's invasion, but that doesn't mean I don't want the truth. That doesn't mean, lie to me all you want and I'll just repeat it like a moron. Like, no, I still want the truth.
Exactly. I think that's a really good point. And, the truth is what's being lost. And, we turn to independent media, we turn to international sources, and then they shut those down. Like they shut down RT. And like in Britain, how in England, they took their license away. They can't even broadcast in England.